All right, boys and girls, we know what our Super Bowl matchup is going to be. Super Bowl LIX 59 for those of you that can't read Roman numerals. Chiefs versus Eagles, the Super Bowl everyone wanted at the beginning of the season. Get to see the Chiefs in potentially a three-peat and the Eagles second time in 3 years they get to make it to the big game. So not overly thrilled about watching. I guess I'm happy the Bills aren't in it. There's a little bit of me that really wanted to see the Bills win tonight just so they could lose 5 Super Bowls in their history. They had the 4 in a row back in the 90s. Nah, but then that leaves still a slim chance that they could have won one. So getting them knocked out now avoids that whole sort of situation. Boys and girls, I'm excited to talk to you. I want to talk a little bit about Aaron Glenn, a little bit about Darren. Is it Mougey? I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name yet. I'll learn tomorrow during the press conference that we're going to get for the new GM and head coach. I want to get your guys' thoughts on everything surrounding this now that we've had a little bit of time to digest. I do have a poll question in the chat. Are you guys rooting for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, or are you Team Meteor hitting the planet and just no one wins the Super Bowl? Let me know in the comment section. All right. So I guess before we get into my thoughts on the games today, I'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts on Aaron Glenn, a little bit more about my thoughts on the new GM. I'm excited for Aaron Glenn. I'm excited for a guy that appears to be what could be a CEO-style head coach. There's some concern because of our historic nature of bringing on first-time head coaches on the defensive side of the ball and pairing them with first-time GMs as well. Now, the only thing we're missing is the young quarterback that's supposed to get plugged in alongside with them, which who knows, maybe that happens in the draft. Maybe we're not as 2026 as some of us think we're going to be. Does Aaron Rodgers come back? It appears that both Aaron Glenn and Aaron Rodgers are open to the idea. I like that. I like the sound of that. I'm sure we'll hear more about it tomorrow and then over the coming weeks and whatnot. I don't know how many questions reporters are going to ask or if it's more of like an introductory, like, here's our guy, here's our thing. But heck, I'm pulling for the guy. Boys and girls, this stream is powered by BetUS. If you guys have not done so already, you can head over to BetUS, get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Here are the odds for the Super Bowl matchup. Chiefs-Eagles. Chiefs going to be a 2-point favorite against the Eagles. And then you got your heads, tails if you want to place a wager on that. Minus 105 for each. I'll say this. For the my favorites to win, it's got to be the Chiefs. Chiefs got to be the favorites. But I'm going to be pulling for the Eagles. I think I'm going to be pulling for the Eagles of the two. Just because Saquon Barkley is a Jet fan. I'm not super thrilled that Mekhi Becton's going to get himself a Super Bowl ring potentially if I root that way. But I don't really want to see a three-peat. Or do we want to see a three-peat because it sort of diminishes maybe some degree of the legacy of the dynasty that was the New England Patriots? I don't necessarily buy that. If you guys want to put any wagers down, head over to BetUS, use code YouTube150. Let them know I sent you over there. That's how I feel. I don't want Becton to get a ring. Is that annoying? I just wanted to. Couldn't have had the Commanders. Would have been fine. Jamison Crowder getting a Super Bowl ring. Would have been totally cool with that. All right, where was I? Aaron Glenn. Now his staff is going to be the most important part. Offensive staff. Who's he going to surround himself with? We've seen some names thrown out there. It seems like 𝐀𝐿𝐼 is probably going to be the guy from all the rumblings. 𝐀𝐢𝐳 just signed as the OC for the Seahawks. I was kind of hoping the Jets would wind up with him. Who knows? A few different opportunities that the Jets could poke around. Do we start looking at some of the Detroit Lions staff? Burnell, Engstrand, Scotty Montgomery, the assistant head coach. Any one of those guys could be calling plays. I see Wyatt in the chat. What's up, Wyatt? Wyatt says, why do people pretend we didn't draft Jordan Travis? He should be a damn fine quarterback. Wyatt, I'm not factoring Jordan Travis into the equation for, like, you know, drafting a quarterback. Like, if we're going to draft, if the Jets and the new regime decides they want to draft a quarterback, that's totally fine. I would understand that mindset. I do like the idea of Rodgers coming back, Tyrod being the backup, and then Jordan Travis just kind of competing, sort of being there, just seeing like little glimpses of him in the preseason, you know, maybe late in the season, or games that, you know, maybe we've won that we just want to get him, you know, some live game reps in. I'm totally down with that. If they want to go that route and run the gambit of like maybe the guys on the roster already, that's fine. I think we probably only have 1 year of Aaron Rodgers if he does come back. And if that's the case, I don't really know, like, where I sort of fall on it. Like, is Jordan Travis the one you want to sort of hitch your wagon to and say, hey, this is the year of development under Aaron Rodgers? I mean, I guess 2 years of development under Aaron Rodgers or being behind him. Or do you try to take a bigger swing? Jordan Travis, there's a reason why he went as late as he did, even with the injury. I'm not so sure he would have been a second-round pick. There's optimism there, but I don't think we could factor him in as being, like, a definitive guy. I'm not even entirely sure he's going to be, like, if the Jets were to pull the trigger on a quarterback, I'm not even sure he makes the roster. Remember, this is an entirely different GM, an entirely different head coach, so it's going to be kind of depend on how they felt about him during last year's draft. So even though a bunch of us fans like the upside in Jordan Travis, I don't know if it's something we can wholeheartedly rely upon. But yeah, look, I'm happy if they go any different way. It doesn't really matter to me if they draft a quarterback this year. There's a few interesting names that are going to pop up. I think guys like the Syracuse kid, it's McLeod. I think he could rise up the ranks. Jackson Dart, I think, is going to shoot up the ranks as well. I really like the fun side of Milroe. Can't throw, really. I mean, he can throw. He can throw a howitzer. He's not super accurate. Can't read defense, I guess, is the knock on him. But man, speed would be super fun to have back there for a quarterback. I don't know. We go a whole bunch of different directions. I see Aaron in there saying, right, we really only need to give him a shot. He carried FSU. I mean, it's really like that's the shining star of Jordan Travis is like, man, that team was everything with him. And as soon as he went down, that team was nothing, like hot garbage. Tyrone says, I'm with you. Crazy how people forgot about him. I really don't think fans are forgetting about Jordan Travis. I really don't. I think it's more so like if you get anything out of him, it's a net positive. Like if he winds up being a career backup, I think that's a home run selection in the 5th round. If he winds up being more than that, gravy, absolute gravy, which is kind of why I'm all right waiting till 2026. I don't have to take a quarterback in this year. I just don't want it to be like the Watson Mahomes year where you pass on a quarterback and then you wind up the following year trading 3 second-round picks to go get Sam Darnold. Like, I don't want that type of situation necessarily if there's a quarterback you deem, you know, worthy of potentially being a franchise quarterback. I don't want you to take a quarterback just to take a quarterback. I don't know. And then as far as Mougey's concerned, I think there's a lot of parallels that you can draw between him and the Jets and the Broncos and the Jets in general. Obviously, Nathaniel Hackett's been a little bit of an illness that we've had between the two franchises. Like the guy, don't love the coach. But I think the almost trade for Aaron Rodgers as the Broncos, but then also trading for Russell Wilson, having the massive dead cap hits, they move off of him, and they have to, you know, kind of calibrate their team. The Jets are kind of in that weird flux of like, even if Rodgers does come back, you're going to have to contend with some really major cap hits in 2026 anyway. So regardless of whether you're pro or anti Aaron Rodgers, I think this is a relevant point of emphasis for this GM. I do think that the contract extensions and how he drafts and the players that he scouts are all very important. I think the Broncos, by and large, have drafted relatively well over the last few years. I think how they handle contracts is going to be something to keep an eye on, obviously, because we have Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, maybe Jermaine Johnson, AVT all coming down the pipeline. And how do they handle those contracts? I do tend to think the first-round picks will probably have to play their 4th round out, and then they go into the offseason in 2026, and I think they'll start getting their contracts there. Gives you the maximum amount of kind of time with the benefit of team contractual control, I guess, without having to shell out the extra, dollars. I think it also sets a precedent. You don't want to necessarily give every first-round pick a contract after 3 years, even though I feel like Garrett Wilson and obviously 2 All-Pros from Sauce have both earned it in their own respects. So I don't know. It's going to be a lot of interesting questions. I'm curious to see how the press conference goes tomorrow, but I am looking forward to it. Dante says, you're tripping if you think Travis wouldn't have gone in the second round. I mean, his grading was all over the place. He very well could have gone in the second round the way we saw the quarterbacks like elevate up draft boards. I think it's definitely possible. If he was fully healthy, I think it definitely could have happened. Now, I guess, I don't know. I want to believe it. I want to believe he would have been a second-round pick and we got a steal in the draft. Because that's what it felt like watching him last year. I get the vibe that may not have been the case, which I guess is not, I shouldn't be talking about vibes. I should be talking about where I thought people were going to go initially. But heck, we got a second-round quarterback in Jordan Travis, and he can be a guy. He can be a dude. I just don't know who he is yet. That's the issue. He didn't take any snaps for the Jets last year. So he is a complete and total unknown. That's more what I'm trying to say. Like, I would not, this feels eerily similar to the Christian Hackenberg conversation. Not that I think Jordan Travis is the like equivalent player of a Christian Hackenberg. I don't think that at all. But we didn't see Christian Hackenberg play at all his rookie year. And then we passed on a quarterback class looking at 2018 saying that is a better quarterback class over there. I'm fine with waiting on it. And I endorse that mindset. I really don't mind it. But I wasn't in the room identifying who Christian Hackenberg was. There were coaches that saw this and they're like, shit, Patrick Mahomes is there, Deshaun Watson. Pff, we got Christian Hackenberg. We got to draft the safety in the first fucking round. You got people like that in the building. That's not good. So hopefully, Jordan Travis is a dude. How many of our dudes that would have been here this past season can vouch for him? I don't know. I don't know how many carryovers we're going to have. Like, I think that plays into the dynamic. It's not like this staff was the one that drafted Travis. And I think that's where you have to kind of think, where did Denver have Travis ranked? Where did Detroit have Travis ranked? Did they have him ranked at all? As a player they'd want to draft. I don't know. There's so many question marks around him. I would not pass on a quarterback if you felt like there was one there. But if they feel like, hey, let's just build the roster and we're going to grow for 2026 and take a quarterback there, I am fine with that. I really am. Let's see. Pooch Guy, what's up? Peeps want Dart. He's friends, pseudo cousins with Zach. Yeah, didn't he go to the same high school? Is that actually true? Someone told me that. And I did not look far enough into this to give it much time. I mean, don't you guys know Zach Wilson's coming back? We got the guy that traded basically for Zach Wilson in the offseason. He's got to be coming back to New York, right? I don't know. I'm looking forward to going through all the quarterbacks, though. The Senior Bowl is going to be big. Jackson Dart's going to be down there. Jalen Miller's going to be down there. Cam Ward was supposed to be down there. He's skipping the Senior Bowl because he's got, obviously, that #1 overall potential status. But now you have the Titans possibly talking about taking a historic prospect. Are they talking about Jordan Travis? Talking about Abdul Carter? Who are they talking about? Probably Travis. Jordan Travis. Or not Jordan Travis. Travis Hunter. Get my Travises mixed up now. I could see them... that would be a weird swing. I think they're going to go Cam Ward at 1. I think the Browns are going to go Travis Hunter. I think Sanders is going to go 3 to the Giants. And then I'm not sure where the Patriots go. If they're going to go Abdul Carter, Tet McMillan. I saw Daniel Jeremiah gave the Jets not Carter Warren. They gave him Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, in his first mock draft. And that's like, I like the player. I do not like the player at 7. Now, if you are getting a stud player, you might just say, screw it. I don't care. It doesn't matter where you take him in the first round, as long as you get an impact player and he's here for a long time. Totally valid. Totally valid point. And maybe wide receiver is a little less critical if Devontae comes back and you have Garrett and you got Corley and maybe you bring in a receiver in free agency that you like. I like Tet McMillan a lot. That would be the one I'd kind of lean towards. But if you wanted to convince me on Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, would be totally fine with that. Would be totally fine with Mason Graham. Would be totally fine with Abdul Carter. I'm not like diehard one way or the other on a lot of these different selections at the very top. George asking, what's his relationship with Daniel Jeremiah? Not one that I know of. He was roommates with Kevin O'Connell, so maybe there is some overlap in their thought processes with how they draft. So maybe we take a look at the Vikings drafts and see how they've kind of handled stuff. Aaron says, yes, he's better than any quarterback in this draft. Talking about Jordan Travis. Rich says, Jordan Travis, most likely not going to be our future, but I'm not reaching for a quarterback in this draft. Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to wait and sit back for the second round, that's fine too. B-Spore, please, God, have the Eagles win. I'm also fine with Rodgers coming back. Also, if he does allow us to trade back, if he does, it allows us to trade back in this draft and target a guy like Warren out of PSU and get a second rounder back. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I do question who a team is coming up for, but if you could trade down, I wouldn't even necessarily take the second round pick in 2025. Like if you can jockey your way into a 2026 pick at a higher clip, like if say you could get like a third this year and a second in 2026, I might be more compelled to do that. See, we're on the same wavelength. Talking 2026, make a move for someone. Yep. George talking Milroe can throw a deep ball, needs a year to learn. Yeah, if you can figure out the processing thing, if there's like any truth to that, or even if you can, I don't want to say dumb down an offense, but if you can like allow him to use his physical gifts, he might be the fastest quarterback coming into the league. Like Lamar is stupid fast. Milroe is like probably, if he's not the fastest, he's probably going to be the second fastest. It's crazy speed for this kid. Yours says, talking myself into Rodgers coming back each day, just draft a quarterback in the next draft. Talking about 2026, I'm assuming. I really don't want our young quarterback to have to start the year like in 2026. I still want a bridge quarterback, and Tyrod's going to be off his contract at that point. So, like, I guess you just worry about it then. Rodgers coming back this year would be a really nice, like, bridge year for a quarterback. Sitting and learning. Wouldn't mind it. Wouldn't mind it at all. Hey, Jake. What's up, dude? Says, Aaron's wisdom. Skill so grand. A guiding light. A steady hand. Jets' hope soars. Dreams take flight. With Rodgers, future shines bright. Keep Rodgers. Yeah, look, I am on board with keeping Rodgers. I definitely am. I don't think we're going to get better quarterback play than Aaron Rodgers. No matter which direction you go. If you're looking for a free agent, if you're looking for a guy that's currently on the roster, if you're looking for, a draft pick or something like that, I think Rodgers is the correct move. I don't know if it's necessarily like, a Super Bowl caliber quarterback move, but I think if the Jets defense can kind of get their act together, if we could get back to like top 15 level quarterback play or top 15 level defense and not give up so much like rushing yards, and we can be a little more strategic on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe we can run the ball, play some ball control. Then I'm on board with, seeing how far we could go. I think this team with Rodgers coming back could absolutely make the playoffs. I think it's entirely possible you could do that. And heck, I guess once you get in the playoffs, anything's kind of possible. And a year further removed from the Achilles, I'd get on board. I think Rodgers is the right way to go. I don't want to sit here and waste a season. Like, I'd rather waste it with Rodgers, like, even if you deem it like not like the farthest you could go with Rodgers. And you're like, oh, you're going to be middle of the pack and you got to trade up for a quarterback. Fine. I'd rather trade up for a quarterback and like give Jordan Travis a shot and just have Rodgers around. Like, I think it is a net positive. Who knows? Maybe we get halfway through the season and pull my hair out watching the same damn thing we did this past year. But like, right now, I would like to see Rodgers come back. Dakota says, Josh Allen and the Bills are all those Eastern Conference NBA teams in the 90s that ran into Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Just terrible timing. Yeah, man, the Chiefs are just so friggin' dominant. It's hard to bet against them. Eddie says, seems like Fields will have more than one suitor. How much are you willing to spend? Not a lot. Not a lot. If there's gonna be a bidding for his services, I don't really want to be in on the bidding. And if Rodgers is coming back, I wouldn't be in on the bidding anyway. It's because you got your 3 quarterbacks. You got Rodgers, you got Travis, you got Tyrod. I would be out on Fields if Rodgers comes back. Who cares where he would have gone? He had a terrible injury. This is who we're talking about. We have no idea where he is right now. Yeah, I don't know what Jordan Travis is in the NFL. That's the most concerning thing. So great. Ryan, I've been checked out since October due to the heartbreak. Good to see you still trucking along. Hey, Socrates, glad to have you in here. Yeah, chugging along is like stretching it. Dude, this has been the most unplugged I've been. I shouldn't say unplugged. I've been dialed into the Jets, but like I just like not motivated to make content because I'm very like I want to do it and I want to have fun with it. And like through the whole season, it was just not fun. Now we're in the offseason. I could talk draft. I could talk about hope and stuff. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Kishan, what's up, dude? Send Rodgers to the Vikings. Get Love in 2036. That's like the sad thing is like it's not that crazy. Like, can anyone see? Like, I feel like we could all probably see Darnold leaving the Vikings at this point, right? Like, after how everything went down, I don't think they're paying him like a huge contract. I could see him go to any number of teams. I could see him go to the Giants. I could see him go to, if Stafford retires, I could see him go to LA. If he go Tennessee, if they don't want to take a quarterback, if they're serious about taking like a swing at a high upside guy or even just a bridge, I think Russell Wilson probably goes to Vegas, follows Pete Carroll there. But I don't see I could see a situation where Rodgers ends up in Minnesota. I just don't want that to happen. Like, I want him to just retire a Jet. Just be done. Either retire this year or retire next year. I don't want to deal with the whole, Rodgers moved on, and then he has a Brett Favrean resurgence with the team after us because we didn't have the, testicular fortitude to hold on to him for the extra year after the injury. That would bug the crap out of me. Kevin goes, I want to see the scene from Dark Knight Rises to play out in the Super Bowl where like the floor like caves in and everything just gets like imploded. And I think that was a Steelers Super Bowl, right? If I remember the team colors correctly. Yeah, I'm Team Meteor. 37% of you guys, though, are Eagles. 35% Team Meteor. Literally only 28% Chiefs. Lawrence, I hope we take either Milroe, Howard, Dart, or Gabriel. Howard is the Ohio State quarterback. Dart, obviously Ole Miss. And Gabriel is Oregon, right? Of that list, I don't know. I mean, I think that's what's kind of nice about the second round. There should be some of these quarterbacks available. It's just a matter of who you want to take the swing at. The kid from Syracuse is interesting. Fiery dude, beat Cam Ward during the season. I'm open to a few different directions. I'm open. Milroe's just got a skill set that is so hard to duplicate. That's why I sort of find myself gravitating towards that skill set, even though there's probably better passers of the football in this league or in this draft. Mahomes is becoming all-time GOAT right in front of all of us, especially in front of all of you jealous, mad, putrid haters. He whines and complains the same way that Brady used to do. It just pisses me off. Although, to be fair, Allen does the same thing. I've never seen a quarterback as big as Allen bitch and be as soft as he is at times. That bugs the crap out of me. Pluto, can Rodgers take us to a Super Bowl? Why settle for mediocrity? I'm done with it. Tank, get your quarterback, and be done with it. Why make the playoffs to lose? Pluto, I'm done with the tanking. Tanking clearly has not worked for us in the past. Has not worked. Sam Darnold, what could have been Trevor Lawrence that turned into Zach Wilson. We've had high draft picks before and it hasn't worked out. Sometimes you just got to like go up and trade for your guy. Go up and get him. Have a good team. Who cares? The Rams haven't made a first round pick in like, aside from this year, like, what was it, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years? It's like 2016, Jared Goff. After Goff, they didn't make a first round pick till this year. Trade up and get your guy. Don't be nervous. It's okay. Why make the playoffs just to lose? Because anything can happen. This defense comes alive. Brees starts going off. Look at a running game can do with Saquon. If you get the running game going like that with Brees, you can have Rodgers do his thing, facilitate, pass around the ball. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Just got to get lucky. Paulie says we should sign Fields to a 2-year deal. Either he's good and you don't need to draft a quarterback at all, or you have a bridge quarterback for the next rookie. So I do like the Fields option. I don't love the Fields option if Rodgers comes back. I don't really want to do that. We need young, competent coaches. Hopefully that's what we're getting. If you get Nick 𝐂𝐟𝐿𝐷𝐄𝐝, the pass game coordinator from the Rams, he's pretty young. Our GM is really young. What is he, 30, 38? Is that what it was? Super young. And then Glenn is, I guess Glenn feels younger. I don't know how old. How old's Glenn? I mean, he probably retired 31. He's got to be 48, 50. Is he close to 50? He was 21 in 94. It's 30 years. Yeah, he's got to be 50 something, right? I think that's where he's at. Aaron, what's good, dude? Aaron says, to be honest, I think we can still win with little adjustments to the team and a coach change. We need Aaron Rodgers back. 2026, be aggressive, get your quarterback. Yeah, there's too much damn talent on this team. Now we're gonna lose talent. Like, it sucks losing DJ Reed. I think we're gonna lose a lot of our defensive guys that are free agents. Like the DB coach went to the Giants, so that means I think Reed is gonna sign the biggest contract possible. If that's the Giants, that's where he'll go. But if not, I think Eccles goes to the Giants. I think Sherwood could definitely be gone. He doesn't like New Jersey already, so like I could totally see him being out. That sucks because those are guys that I would like to hold on to. Not necessarily Reed. Like, I like Reed, but I think Reed's good is gone anyway. But I'd like to hold on to Eccles. I'd like to hold on to Sherwood. I don't think they're going to hang around. But yeah, you reload. If you can rebuild the middle of this defense, defensive tackle, linebacker, safety, that shores up the defense. It sucks having to spend like defensive picks in the first round, but that's like where the strength is. So it wouldn't bother me. Ryan, would you trade Rodgers for Brock Purdy? We would obviously be paying Purdy crazy money. I don't know if I'd want to do that. I feel like a lot of what Purdy's doing is like a loaded team and Kyle Shanahan. And we don't have either one of those. We have a good team. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to say I'm out on that one. GTA 4-man says Meteor all the way. Where's Carson Wentz? Backing up Mahomes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate Wentz as like a bridge quarterback. Billy says, I'm really starting to hate KC. Something always happens at the end for them to pull the game out. Yeah, they're trying to, it's the Taylor Swift thing. They just want to get the girls involved. Jordan, Rodgers is terrible for our culture. How do you build a culture when your quarterback wants everything his way? Does a talk show midweek, can't scramble. By week 3, we will be crying again. So I do think the dynamics change a bit with Rodgers going into next year, because I don't think this GM is going to kowtow to Rodgers the way that we rightfully, I think, should have the last 2 years. I think it made sense to bring in guys that he was comfortable with, try to smooth everything over and make it a quick, transition into hopefully a Super Bowl. The injury really rattled everything. I don't think this is where Rodgers is at in his career anymore. I think he knows maybe he has enough in the tank to go win a ring, but I don't think he's going to expect us to like push chips into the center the way we did the last few years. I think that feels a little unlikely. The ref screwed Allen. Allen definitely had that first down. Yeah, that fourth down, when he first went at it, not first went at it, he only went at it one time. I thought he had it. And then you look at the far judge, he came in, I was like, oh, he's got it. And then he started moving in a little bit. And then the near side judge clearly showed that he was short. And when you look at the replay, if Chris Jones isn't standing where he's standing, the Bills are probably in the Super Bowl instead of the Patriots, or instead of the Chiefs. Paulie, I love Milroe. I just don't trust the Jets to develop. It might be better for him to go to the Rams or someone like that. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole knock, right? Like, can the Jets create a culture to develop quarterbacks? Can you bring in the right coaching staff to take advantage of his talents? Milroe's just such a wild card that I'd be cool with kind of rolling the dice on it. But again, I'm going to look at every single one of these quarterbacks, and I'm going to give you my thought process once we get through the draft, and maybe when we get up to the combine, maybe I'll have some rankings out before then, and just kind of like show you how I adjust my rankings as I've seen more stuff. I need to watch more tape on all of them. Bandit Healer, Josh Allen's tears are delicious. Bandit, I just want you to know I love Bluey. I'm a very big Bluey fan. Bluey is very popular in this household. We've got the Bluey little books. I've got 3 seasons of Bluey on my server. I could sit and watch Bluey for days. I believe the Milroe comp is Jordan Love. Might be worth having him sit behind Rodgers for a year. If that's true, then yeah, go for it. It obviously worked for Green Bay. I think Milroe's way faster. Milroe to me feels like a Hurts, but like faster than Hurts. He's built like a bodybuilder too. Milroe's a big dude. I don't know what he is like height-wise, but I saw him without his shirt, just like throwing the ball around. Someone posted it on Twitter, and it's like, holy hell, this guy can fucking like run over people. Stanley, the Jets need to bring back a good D, top 5, get ahead in games and run the ball more. Don't have Rodgers throw more than 20 times a game. I don't understand why we didn't run the ball more this year. I mean, I guess we didn't really have leads too consistently to like take advantage of it, but I feel like our run blocking was just ass the entire year. So yeah, I agree. I'd like to see more running of the football. Ooh, Jake says, no real Jet fans were rooting for the Bills. Stop microwaving your head before watching YouTube shows. I will say this. If you could give me optimal Bills sadness, I do think it is making the Super Bowl and losing a 5th time. So I will say that. But you can't guarantee me that they would have lost. That's the thing. Like the Eagles getting in, honestly, just the Bills getting in general. If the Bills got into the Super Bowl, there's like a very good chance they could win that. I think Josh Allen's a really good fucking quarterback. But I'll be honest, if you could tell me to dial up a script, yeah. I wanted the Bills to win tonight so they could lose in the Super Bowl. I want maximum pain for our division rivals. That would be where I kind of stood on that one. NYJ says, Rodgers is a silver dollar in this pile of change that is this coming free agency and draft of quarterbacks. A silver dollar? I don't know if I know what that means. I mean, I know what a silver dollar is. Pile of change, like, is this like cool? It's like, wow, like it's clearly bigger than the rest. That's how I'm taking that. Right? The best of all options. There's no better option at quarterback for us. Like you draft a rookie, that is the ultimate lottery ticket. Aaron saying, we know quarterbacks' rookie rankings will change. Can you see the Jets get the 3rd best quarterback in the draft at 7 or trade down or go all in for Sanders? I don't think we're going to go all in for Sanders. I think Sanders is going to be a Giant. I really do. I think he's either going to be a Giant or he's going to be a Raider. I thought a Raider for the longest time. If the Browns are serious about potentially trading down, then if the Raiders are willing to give enough up, I think it makes sense for the Browns to slide back. If the Raiders are not going to go up to go get a quarterback, then I think Sanders goes to the Giants. I do think the Jets can get the third quarterback at 7. I just don't know who that quarterback's going to be. Remember, just last year, we did not have Michael Penix or Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy as a first round or top of the first round quarterback, any one of them. They were all like, maybe tail end of the first, second round picks, things like that. And they all shot up boards. So I could totally see the Jets sitting there at 7 come draft time. And all of a sudden, the Jets are making the selection of insert hot name quarterback that flew up the board. If it's Jackson Dart, if it's Milroe, whoever it is, I could totally see it. Could absolutely see that happening. Will Morris, he got too much slack this season. Man, their O-line is whack, and they had a bit of injuries. Dell Collins Diggs talking about CJ Stroud, I guess, right? You like Jackson Dart? He's intriguing. I'll say that. Do I like him more than anyone else? I don't know. Milroe Hurts 2.0. I heard Milroe Fields. There's a lot of polarization around Jalen Milroe, which does feel very similar to Lamar Jackson when he was coming out, but Lamar was stupid accurate. And I don't know. I should look at what is Milroe's actual stats. I don't know where he wound up as far as completion percentage and stuff. This year, passing. So 64.3% completion percentage. That's not great. It's really not that good. But rushing wise, 20 touchdowns? Who gives a shit? I don't care how you get your touchdowns. You're going to get 20 touchdowns on the ground? I'll take 20 touchdowns on the ground all day. Fun as hell. Milroe has baby hands, measured poorly. Do we know that yet? I don't know if we know that yet. We'll see. You don't want sub 10-inch hands. I believe Kenny Pickett had the smallest hands of any quarterback coming in, and that was did he have 9-inch hands or 8.5-inch hands? It was really small for a quarterback. Kurt says, wow, Mekhi Becton is going to the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl, and you guys couldn't wait to get him out of town. That's crazy. Well, a lot of us wanted him at guard. Let's try him at guard. He wouldn't do it, or at least our coaching staff wouldn't do it. He's a tackle. He only wanted to play tackle. Then he got a little slice of humble pie when he wasn't getting a contract, went to the Eagles on a dirt cheap deal. I think he's getting paid $5-6 million a year. He'll probably get a nice contract after this year. Stayed healthy, played well. Talent was never the concern. It was always the health. And then after the health, the play became a concern because he was too slow on the outside. They should have kicked him inside here. And he says, I feel like the Dart hype will rise and he will be picked in the first round. Yeah, I agree. I don't love the idea of trading back into the first round because I do think that's going to cost you the 2026 first. And I think there's a situation where that pick could end up being a top 10 pick. So I'd like to not give up the 2026 first. I would almost rather trade or draft our quarterback at 7 than... I don't want to do that. That's a bad way to say that. I think I'm more willing to just see who falls to the second round. Because if there's this many quarterbacks, you could take a stab at it. Man, I don't know. I'm going to change my mind 100 different times before this fucking draft. That's what's going to happen. Keith Carter should never get a job in the NFL again. Man, our running game just fucking fell off a cliff. Nah, I love them not getting to the Super Bowl. Can't even repeat the failures of the 90s Bills. At least they got to the Super Bowl before losing. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess a lot of these fans haven't felt that Super Bowl. Like, you got to think that's 35 years ago now, or 30 years ago since the Bills have been in the Super Bowl. A lot of fans are young. They're hungry. They're excited for it, and let's not give them that satisfaction. We should look at Will Howard. I would imagine we'll look at all of them. Look at all the QBs coming out. All right, boys. Before I get too far into this, I do just want to acknowledge sponsor of the channel, Chubbies. Got another novelty mug for Christmas instead of the Chubbies you really wanted? Yeah, we've been there. But it's not too late to treat yourself to what you truly deserve this year. Chubbies has everything you need to turn your wardrobe and your life around. Start with the everywhere pants designed for every occasion, whether heading into the office or just kicking back for a lazy football Sunday. Note that these everywhere pants are spelled EVER, just so you, the listener, gets just how clever it is. Wear everywhere pants. Damn, they're good. And if your New Year's resolution is to hit the gym, Chubby's Ultimate Training Shorts are what you want. Workout in it, split side seams, an extended liner. Every detail is crafted for effortless movement, whether you're squatting on leg day or hobbling to your car after squatting on leg day. Either way, your goodies will stay safe and secure. For a limited time, use code JetsTalk20 at chubbyshorts.com to get 20% off your order. Don't miss out. Chubby's is here to help you take 2025 in style, starting with the comfiest, most versatile gear you've ever worn. For a limited time, our friends at Chubby's are giving our listeners 20% off with promo code JetsTalk20 at checkout at chubbyshorts.com. That's 20% off your order with promo code JetsTalk20. Support the show. Tell them I sent you. No matter where the New Year's takes you, Chubby's has the gear to keep you comfortable and looking your best. Boys and girls, if I have not talked glowingly about Chubby's before, if you haven't heard me talk about them, I legitimately love the pants. I'm not wearing them right now. I got sweatpants on right now. Psh, damn near midnight. But man, I could legitimately fall asleep in Chubby's. 4-way stretch. Wear them to the office. I actually got to pick up a few more pairs myself. If you want to support the show, link in the description. Stu says, I disagree, Ryan. If possible, sign Justin Fields or Trey Lance and just don't give up draft picks to fill out this team with much-needed defensive talent. We still need 2 defensive tackles, wide receiver, tight end, cornerback, strong safety. So I do think I have to look into Denver's free agents. I think there's an interior defensive tackle that I believe the Jets will go after, both either from the Broncos or from the Lions. I could see it go either way, but I think we will be bringing in guys. I think tight end's going to happen in the draft. Wide receiver could happen in the first round of the draft. It could also kind of, I don't want to say a punt year, but it might happen like if something presents itself in the mid rounds. If Devontae comes back, I think that changes the calculation on wide receiver. Cornerback, I'd love to see, especially since I don't think Eccles is coming back. Zachary says, I want nothing to do with Sanders. I don't think Sanders wants anything to do with us. This is one of those, you're not breaking up with me, I'm breaking up with you situations. I don't think we got to really worry about that. Jets do that and draft a quarterback at 7. The amount of hate from this fandom is going to be incredible. Yeah, Jet fans are going to lose their marbles with a quarterback at 7. I do think the Jets could do it, though. Like, there's going to be... If you told me last year, you know, that those quarterbacks, Penix, JJ, and Nix would go top 12, and if you told me that, like, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets would still wind up with, what would we get, 5 wins this year? In hindsight, I probably would have said, well, maybe quarterback's not the worst decision to make. I would have never guessed we'd have as few wins as we did this year. I don't know. I could totally see quarterback if they wanted to make that move. Frank, if the boards don't change, do you think it's in the team's best interest to trade down to the end / middle of the first round for a quarterback? Oh, I'm totally down to trade down. I just don't know who's coming up and for what player. I'm totally team trade down. No issues with that whatsoever. I think the Jets could get Ward at 7, to be honest. Titans take Hunter. Browns take best player available. Giants take Shador. Raiders sign Wilson in free agency. I don't see a situation where, I mean, would the Browns go best player available? I feel like they'd trade out of that pick. They seem the most likely to move out and try to reset that roster in general in the post-Watson era. What real Jets fans would ever root for the Bills, Miami, or New England? I hate the Bills and I hate the Dolphins and I hate the Patriots a lot. I would say I hate the Bills the least out of that just because they're kind of like that lowly bunch of fans that were kind of like us for the longest time. Now they've seen way more success the last 5 seasons or 6 seasons or however long Allen's been there. So they can go pound sand. Wild Wave, Cleveland is definitely going to look wide receiver. They traded Cooper, and Elijah Moore's contract is up as well. I could see them go wide receiver. I think that's possible. I think they trade down with the Raiders and take Ted McMillan right in front of the Jets. I could see that. Or no, are the Raiders just before us or the Raiders after us? Now I'm losing my damn mind. I got to look. Raiders are right in front of us. Yeah, so I could see them trading with the Raiders. Raiders get Shador Sanders in front of the Giants. They get Ted McMillan in front of the Jets, and then the Jets are in this weird funky state right in front of us. Wild Wave also drops in with his member super chat. Thank you, dude. Says Garrett Sauce JJ's 5th-year options, $51 million off of the 2026 cap. It's not feasible with Rodgers' dead cap. We can't compete in the playoffs in 2025. Well, you could split Rodgers' dead cap over 26 and 27, which I think is entirely possible. I think you might see that happen. You also got to remember that Devontae's contract is going to get restructured. So the cap hits you're currently seeing on Over the Cap or Spot Track or whatever, like Devontae's not going to get, what is he, $42 million or something crazy? It's insane, like the next 2 years. So it's not, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the Jets are going to do. I do think we exercise all the 5th-year options, and I think we sign them to an extension next offseason. I think that's more likely what's going to happen. I think JJ, they probably let the 5th year play out and then get forced into a franchise tag situation with him or, try to re-sign him after the fact. I think that injury is going to be a big hurdle. If they decided not to give his 5th year option, I would understand it and be forced into a contract after having him prove you wrong this year. I really like JJ. I don't want to see him go anywhere, but I could understand that mindset if they went that route. Will Morris, touchdowns on the ground opens up the passing game. Yes, it does. Rich says, I'm pretty excited about our coach used to be a scout. Coach plus good motivation and communication skills plus playing history plus scouting background. Obvious risk being a first-time head coach, but I really like it. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Glenn has the credentials and the references to be a very good, or at least a very qualified first-time head coach. It makes it easier to pull for him, too. Kenneth says, Jets draft Dart equals no playoffs for another 5 years. Dart is the product of Kiffin's one-read systems, which will not translate to the NFL. Dude, we keep talking quarterback. We need nasties. Big nasties. Yeah, you got to fix the D-line. D tackle, I don't know if that's necessarily a round one need. I understand why fans want Mason Graham, given our lack of being able to stop the run. I would say if you get a fatty in free agency, I'd prefer that. And then give me someone cornerback, edge rusher, wide receiver, trade down, tight end, quarterback, something like that. Look at the Eagles mauling people. Yeah, well, they also got Jalen Carter, who fell. He had some major issues in that draft, and he slid way further. B-Sport says, Milroe at 38 would be insane. Every mock I do is taking him at 38. Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the 40th best player in this class. He's gonna go in the first round. I'd put a solid $5 on it right now. I think Milroe will be a first-round quarterback. I think there's too many teams at the back end of the draft. Teams like the Lions, the Rams, Steelers are somewhere back there. Any one of these teams could go after a quarterback, late in the draft. Benji says, let's stop it. Let Jordan Travis sit behind two vets before he starts. Look at how Jordan Love turned out. Plus, Travis was a dog in college. Yeah, I think if they feel like he might be able to play, then you might see us pass on quarterback this year. If we do I don't know if we're going to carry 4 quarterbacks if we do take a quarterback. And at that point, Travis is probably practice squad or he's cut, which would kind of suck because I do want to see him play before anything happens. JJ says, with Glenn as a coach, I'm thinking corner Johnson will be our first rounder. It's possible. I'm curious to see what Glenn or how Glenn feels about Sauce Gardner. And how he feels about how the Lions have utilized their draft picks. They did prioritize safety pretty high. They drafted Branch a few years back. Okudah had to be before Aaron Glenn, though, right? Surtain was drafted highly from Denver. So, yeah, you could see it. I could see corner. Tyson says, fuck, Clint Kubiak went to the Seahawks, so now we get some new, never-done-it loser that Aaron Rodgers would want to expect to in 15 season. Look, I would like to see one of the Detroit guys. Give me someone from Detroit. Nick Callie or Kaylee or however you pronounce his name. There's a lot of people that are hyped up on him, or at least the league seems like they're hyped up on him, or the Jets media factory is trying to hype us up on him. Purely looking at the resume. I don't know anything about Nick Caley from a personal standpoint. Just from the little interviews that I've watched. I don't love his resume. But sitting behind, being passing game coordinator to McVay at least tells you a little bit. It's funny that who drafts you changes perception. If Milroe gets drafted by the Rams, everyone will think they missed something with him. I think he needs to sit at least a year, so Rams would work. Yeah, that's no matter who the Jets take, it's going to be seen as oh man, this guy's going to bust here. And the opposite way for the 49ers, the Rams, and the Vikings are going to be looked at that way too. Tyson says, Garrett will be depressed if A-Rod and Devontae love affair continues for next year. Yeah, tough cookies, Garrett. You're under contract for 2 more seasons. Plus a franchise tag. So, I don't know. I really like Garrett, and I was probably a little more sympathetic to Garrett and his feelings with Rodgers here and whatnot. And I heard some stuff that, not that it makes me judge Garrett a little differently. I mean, maybe I guess it does because I'm saying this, but he's not the student of the game. He's a physical freak. And I think that's probably where the rift between him and Rodgers came up. Maybe not having his head in the book as much as his athletic traits kind of allow him to overpower people, which I guess I'd rather talent all day. I don't know. Hopefully they could just get over it. They're both competitors, so just want to see it all work out. I don't want Garrett going anywhere. JJ says D-line round 1, round 2, right tackle. So I like going after Jedrick Wills in free agency. We don't have any ties to him now, but right tackle, left tackle flexibility, still young enough to be your future at right tackle. If Olu goes down, you have a backup there. And then I would take Ozzy Trapillo from Boston College. 6'8", 310 pounds. Kid plays left tackle, right tackle, even played a little bit of guard. That's the guy I'm going to hang my hat on for this offseason. Didn't Dak Prescott come from Ole Miss? He seemed to make like he made a good transition to a pro system. Yeah, but it was a different coach at the time. Who the hell was his coach? I know this. God, who was his head coach in college? It's someone we know. It's someone we know. What the hell is his name? Someone's going to beat me to it. Dan Mullen, there it is. The coach from Miami. Was it Miami? Is that where he was? Florida. So he was at Mississippi State prior to it, so it wasn't Ole Miss. Ryan, what do you think happens to Brees? I think Brees is on the team for this year. I think it's a coin flip after that. I think it's entirely possible we just let him walk. I'd like to exercise our fifth-year options on all our guys, so it gives us the option to franchise tag him if we want to. I want to see him what he looks like in this offense. If we wind up getting someone that utilizes the running backs in a crazy capacity, I was hoping Clint Kubiak because of the way Kamara played, but obviously that's not on the table anymore. I don't think Garrett signs a second deal, though. I think at best he gets like the franchise tag. Hennessy thinks Milroe will go to Pittsburgh. I could see that. They go against Lamar so frequently, I could see them totally do that. Not to mention they brought in Fields and Russell Wilson, 2 running-style quarterbacks after drafting Kenny Pickett and Ben Roethlisberger back there the last bunch of years. I could totally see that. Ryan, really? Do we all see the D-lines in these playoffs have dominated and won games for their team? A great D-line makes the defensive back's job much easier because they don't have to cover wide receivers for 5 seconds. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I was just saying I think Will Johnson could definitely be taken because of Aaron Glenn's cornerback history. I do agree the D-line should be the priority. McCord or Dart in round 2? The more I hear from McCord and like the little clips I see of him, apparently he's tearing it up at the East-West Shrine Bowl. Looks like the best quarterback there, apparently, from the Twitter clip I saw. If that's the case, you got to take a look at the kid. Ruben says, I would trade Hall to the Cowboys for a second rounder. If you can get a second rounder for Brees, you might feel inclined to do that. I'm not so sure that happens in the offseason. I think it's more of a trade deadline thing. Like if the Jets season is going south and there's an opportunity to get either a third round pick in the 2026 draft or a second round pick in like the 2027 draft, I think you pull the trigger on that. Hopefully we don't have to talk about that, though, and hopefully Brees is, like, just crushing it.
Last team that both lost offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, Eagles, now both are on the hot seat after 3 years. I hope we got the better coordinator out of Chicago. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to get some of the offensive guys from Chicago or from Detroit. Yeah, Dan Mullins. Paris says the Jets are not bringing back Aaron Rodgers. I don't think the Jets want to deal with his drama. I think they're going to play the card of we want you back, this, that, and the other thing. And then if he retires, he retires. It is what it is. I do think he gives us the best chance to have any sort of success next season. Beefy says Peyton Manning played like dog shit in the Super Bowl and still won. Harping on Rodgers is not sensible. People have to learn to watch good teams play. Yeah, I'm not confident that like Peyton Manning 2015, or is that when they won? 2015, 2016? Whenever they won the Super Bowl. I'm not sure that level of play from a quarterback could win you a ring still. That was very poor play and a very electric defense. People forget just how bad Peyton was that final year. He was not good. He was very bad. Kenneth, can the Jets cut their new GM and steal Howie Roseman away from the Birds for, say, $20 million a year? Woody won't pay it. It's just not going to happen. Harlan says, McCord, you could probably get in the 4th round. I'll bet right now McCord goes way higher than the 4th round. I think you could feasibly see him in the 2nd. And it wouldn't even shock me to see him like super skyrocket at the combine. People start looking into him more, and I think it'll be interesting. JV, yeah, 2nd, 3rd round. Have him and Travis learn from Aaron. I mean, I'm down with that. I could do that. Beefy says Mets fortunes changed with a new owner. I suppose the same will happen with the Jets. Someone's got to find the dirty emails on Woody. That's what it is. Someone leak them out. Let's get a new owner. I feel really bad for Buffalo, said no Jets fans ever. Yeah, no, they can pound sand. Aaron says, I feel like you can get a DB anytime in the draft, especially Glenn should know what to look for in that position. Yeah, it's almost like leaning on Salah for linebackers and like defensive linemen. You hope that Aaron Glenn can target guys without needing to spend premium assets on them. I'm on board with that. All right, boys, I've hit the hour-long mark in this show. If you haven't done so already, head over to BetUS. Get 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. Code YouTube150. If you guys haven't seen the lines yet, -2 for the Chiefs, +2 for the Eagles. So who are you taking out of these two teams? According to our poll chat, who do you want to win the Super Bowl? 42% of you say the Eagles, 31% of you say the Meteor, and 27% of you say the Chiefs. So literally 73% of people do not want the Chiefs to win. That's what I'm hearing. You guys can vote on it. You guys could also put some money on what color the Gatorade shower is going to be. It's going to be, it was purple the last 2 years the Chiefs won. It was blue the year the Rams won. It was blue the year the Bucks won. And then it was orange the year before that when the Chiefs won. Who knows? Maybe if the Eagles get it, maybe it's going to be a green Gatorade shower. We'll see. Boys, greatly appreciate you coming in here. Make sure you hit that like button. Got over 300 people in here at midnight on the championship game night. Well, I appreciate y'all being in here. Really means a lot. I'll be back tonight. Well, I guess tonight, right? Like Monday night, I'll be talking with, I won't have Dom. I'll have to reach out to Tigo, see if he's available. Talk a little Senior Bowl, or maybe I'll just do it on my own channel if I don't have Dom. But we'll see. Dom's down at the Senior Bowl with Jeremy. So, yeah, we'll go through some stuff. Get your thoughts. Talk a little bit more. Soak in all the stuff from the weekend. Then Tuesday, we'll come back with the Talking Jets show. Myself, O'Leary, and Greenbean. 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Boys and girls, thank you so much for hanging out. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.
You're out of here! Hit hard by Jermaine Johnson. An out-of-a-diving catch made by Braylon Allen. Look at the speed of Breece Hall. Breece lightning. Tied at 17. Hey, that's a Jet touchdown. Family on 3, 1, 2, 3.